Pharmacy.
Okay,
I'm ready. Yes, sir.
all right, you ready, Mark? Good evening. We'll go ahead and call us to order. It's 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Appreciate everyone being here tonight for our meeting on April the 14th, 2022. So if you will bow with me, I'll lead us in our invocation as we get started tonight. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the rain you've provided for us this week. Lord, just thank you for the beautiful sunshine. Lord, just thank you for a wonderful country that we live in and for our freedom. And Lord, for this great community that we all call home. And Lord, as we go throughout this week and think about the true meaning of Easter and what that means to all of us, Lord, we just ask you to continue to bless us. And Lord, just continue to be with us and keep us safe as we travel home tonight. In your name we pray. Amen. If you'll stand, we'll pledge to the American flag and then to the Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our Georgia state flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we'll ask our clerk if she'd call the roll, please, of the board.
Commissioner Blakemore.
Present.
Commissioner Askew.
Here.
Chairman Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hart.
Here.
Commissioner Stoltz.
Present.
Okay, in the packet we do, well, let me back up. Okay, so we have our agenda here before us tonight that was published on our website and Facebook a week ago. So the board members have this before this, and this is in our packet, and it's also available online. So do we have a motion to approve our agenda schedule for tonight?
I would like to recommend that we move public comment before new business.
Okay. All right, any other modifications? Okay, so do we have a motion to approve with a modification of moving public comments?
Modification, Commissioner Blakemore.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Askew. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Blakemore. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Okay. All right, also in the packet is the minutes from our March 24th meeting. Is there any corrections, issues, or concerns about that before we approve those?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Stoltz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as presented. Okay, then that's going to get us right to our public comments. We do ask anyone that would like to speak, if you would come up here to the podium so we can pick you up on the camera and also the microphone. And just ask you if you would state your name for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes.
All right. My name's Bill Buoni from District 3. I emailed all of you a copy of a presentation I had pulled together. I talked to Brian, I want to say about 2.5 months ago. Yep. And so what we're trying to do is we started talking about inflation. We're looking at fertilizer costs, herbicide costs, and they're just through the roof, and this is pre-Ukraine. So I reached out to our Congresswoman. I wish the timing was a little bit better because in the middle of a campaign it gets kind of dicey. But what I've done is, I'm not going to repeat what's in here, but for everybody that's aware, what we're trying to do is we're trying to pull together a roundtable event that we'll pull together a set of farmers, people that are experts in the area, as well as I've reached out to UGA, the extension. I've reached out to, at the district level and at locally, I've talked to Wade Hutchinson locally and Jewel, I can't remember her last name, but I talked to her at the district level. I've also reached out to the young farmers. For anybody who knows Dalton Green, I've spoken to Dalton. I've talked to the state ag commissioner. I've had some conversations with Tyler Harper as well, so I'm being a little bit optimistic, thinking he's running unopposed, and it's probably not a good year for Democrats. But anyways, it's a non-campaign related event, but what we're trying to do is pull together this roundtable centered on the 14th Congressional District. Now, what we want to do is on the 5th of May, Marjorie's going to take some time, and she's going to come out and look at it, do a couple farm tours, trying to get her educated in agriculture. It's not her strong suit. But she's going to do a couple farm tours, and then what we're going to do is have what I'm going to call a private meeting. Would love to have some participation. I've talked to Brian about it. Anybody else is interested, trying to get the UGA folks out and see who else we can get involved. If anybody has any people that are into agriculture that have some interest, it's not just a Walker County thing. It's across the district. But we've been focused in Walker County because that's where I live, and I like to get some focus on our county. Our commissioner's been kind enough. He took the time to talk with me, and we've talked about where we might do some kind of meeting. And then post primaries, what we plan to do is hopefully we'll have a public type of event. We're going to go out. We'll have these people engaged. We'll try to bring in our public, and the whole idea behind this is really, at least in my mind, I know it's a little bit of pipe dream, and I'll get through this in 1 second. But the whole idea is to try to empower our agriculture community, right, and try to formulate partnerships at the district, and then with some, federal, state, and then local partnerships. I've talked to Marjorie. I've also got a commitment that we'll keep this thing going after the round table. We'll set up a community group, and we'll have a pipeline into her office, and then subsequently, hopefully, we'll be able to work with the next ag commissioner, and we'll be able to work with folks locally. So that's all I have to say. Sorry if I went over 5 minutes. I tried to talk quick, and I appreciate you guys. And thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Remind us when the round table, what was the date of that?
So May 5th is going to be, it's more or less a private event, right? I'm saying it's private. We're not going to have a public event on the 5th. We're going to have a smaller group, maybe 15 to 20 people. We don't want to do anything big before the primaries because this is a non-campaign event. I can't stress this enough. I'm working with our congressional team. The idea, I mean, if she loses, right, I'm hoping, I'm going to bring this up with the next person that would be in line. I don't think that's going to happen, but if that were to happen, that's what I would do. But yeah, it would be May 5th, and then we would follow that up sometime in June or July with something that would be a public event. And we want to, this is not a once and done thing. We want to look for opportunities to help the community. We want to brainstorm on solutions, but we want to also have some accountability and two-way conversations at the, like I said, federal and hopefully with state and local partnerships. Is there any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, who would like to be next? Yes, ma'am. Come on up, please.
Hello.
Hey, David. Please state your name, please.
My name is Cher Rodenauer. Cher, like the singer, Sonny and Cher. My last name is Rodenauer. Excuse me if I cry. Sorry, I'm trying not to. I'm sure you're aware that 24 to 34 million tons of plastic is going into the ocean every year. Y'all aware of that? Are you also aware that just recently they're finding plastic, microplastics and nanoplastics in the placentas of women and in newborn children and in fetuses. They're finding plastic in the fetuses, so that's pretty serious. So the reason that I'm here is to see, I'm new at anything to do with government. I mean, I don't know how politics works. I was trying to glean from what the gentleman before me was just saying, about a round table and that kind of thing. See, I'm not sure how it works, but I'm passionate, and I'm wondering if there's anything that we can do at the county level. I know it's similar to like changing the tide of the ocean because everything is made of plastic. I mean, so not everything, but a whole lot, you know, the packaging. You can't go down the bath products aisle and find anything to bathe in that's not made in plastic, like you have to use baking soda or something, or essential oils. So I'm just wondering, where do I go from here? Like I have some ideas for ad campaigns. I'm wondering if there's a way we can get the children in school involved. I think they probably already are learning about it, but or the children in a church setting, maybe if the school has too much red tape, maybe more in the church Sunday school area, where we can get children involved in helping their parents to remember to get the paper bags. Or if there's a way, I don't know if you have the authority, Chairman Whitfield, to enact laws that, I don't know if we can do that at the county level, but to ban like the plastic bags at the grocery store. Once you use that bag at the grocery store, it's always here. It's here, it never goes away. It just keeps breaking down into smaller pieces. And now it's turning up in our babies, in our children. We have to do something. And I'm just wondering if anybody here has any ideas of what my next step could be. Have any ideas of what we could do at a county level or?
Well, I know Payne Gillies here, we do some plastic recycling. The city of Lafayette does some plastic recycling. Chickamauga does plastic recycling. That doesn't really address your problem. You're wanting to eliminate plastic.
Altogether.
Yeah, I know that.
Altogether.
Yeah, I know a lot of stores in the Chattanooga area have done that. I don't know about.
They have?
Yeah, well, not eliminated, but like you said, they
You have the option for paper and,
Yeah,
or
or you
bring your own bag.
yeah, that's what I'm
and
talking about.
reusable bags and things like that.
yeah.
But like everywhere I go, I still see all the citizens are is anybody in here asking for paper or using a reusable bag? Anybody in here, when you go to the store, are you either asking for paper or are you using a reusable bag? Anybody?
Yes, my family
You
does
do?
that.
You do? You do? What are y'all using?
If you go to Aldi, you just about have to, you know? If you go to Aldi to buy your groceries,
Aldi?
take a bag with you, yeah, because they don't supply bags.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for right there. Now, how did they get to that place? How did we get Food Line and Walmart and all of them to that place? How did they get to that place? Do you know?
I think those are probably corporate decisions that
Probably.
leadership of Audit probably just did on their own as stewards of the environment, would be my speculation.
So maybe approach the CEOs of those corporate.
Yeah.
And we can look as a board to have a Clean Up Walker County Day where we go out, clean up plastics, et cetera, put them in recycle. I mean, that's something that we could do.
Are you aware of what's really going on with the recycling? And you already know about China saying, no, you can't send your plastic over here anymore. And so now it's going over to Malaysia and Indonesia and 4 countries that aren't set up to recycle it. So it's just getting piled up over here. Like, I saw a video the other day, it was 2 stories high. And I believe that was Malaysia. I'll come back to the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Okay, who would like to be next?
Sheriff, I'd like to invite you to give me a call at the landfill, or I'll get with you after the meeting and I can go over our recycling program at the landfill. We do accept some plastics, number 1 through 7. We do have a recycling program, and I'd be interested in any ideas that you might want to share with me.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Did you say you're going to give me your number?
Yes, I will.
Great.
Okay, who's next? Yes, ma'am. Miss Karen?
My name is Karen Bradley. I just want to make a quick statement, and this is actually going out for Christy Cordell Fowler. She is actually a female veteran here in Lafayette, and she is trying to get anyone that is a female veteran involved with a Female Veterans Day that is coming up in June 12th. She is involved with Post 339 on South Chattanooga Street.
And that's June the 12th at the post?
Well, no, she's trying to get females involved with that date.
Okay.
That is actually a date that is actually marked on the calendar as Female Veterans Day.
What's the contact for her? How do we get on the text with her?
I didn't bring her phone number, but she is involved with Post 339.
Okay.
So she'll be at the meeting next month.
Yes.
Okay, I'll talk to her.
Thank you, Ms. Karen.
Thank you. Who's next? You will come on that? I think you're.
Yeah, I would pose this as questions, require short answers. I'm in District 4, I live in Flintstone, been there 25 years. Steve Holly, a retired pastor, retired Army colonel. This resolution for to revise the public safety fee assessed in the County Fire and Rescue District. I know you just mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that you said this was going to be on the agenda a week early, but there was a blank, my understanding, it was a blank page, is that correct?
Yeah, there
What-
was one document that was not in the agenda yet. It was
So
not ready.
So a week, you met that requirement a week early, but nobody knew, were you gonna lower it? Heaven forbid that you lower it, probably not. I mean, is this a way to raise those taxes? And what is the percentage proposal? And now my understanding from a couple of articles in Catoosa and Walker County that 24 hours ago that was disclosed, which looked like to me about a 25% increase, maximum of 25% increase. My question is that the way to do business with the constituents in Walker County, to only give 24-hour notice of your intention to raise those taxes? Why only 24 hours? And is it the board's intention just to vote on that without any public discussion or roundtable discussion? My guess is 97% of the public don't even know about it. How are they going to know about it in 24 hours? So what's the board's intention on that here tonight? Just to vote on it without discussion? Or what?
No, the board has open discussion on any action item on the agenda, and that's one reason why, too, we stream all of our meetings live on Facebook, and we archive those on our YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
but nobody knew for 24, I mean, nobody could know that it was your intention, the board's intention, to raise that to a maximum of 25%. That's just my quick math and reading some other people who have inquired about it before me. And so you're going to discuss it here tonight before you vote on it? Or
Yes.
huh?
Yes, it will be
What about
discussed
the
tonight.
public? Should the public know about that before you, or should it just be limited to, I'll just wonder how many people here knew about it, even though they're here. And I can guarantee that there'd be more people here if the proposed raise that was disclosed 24 hours ago, if that was disclosed 7 days ago, there'd be more people here.
Well, we do put our agendas out a week ahead of time, and we strive to get everything in the agenda packet that we possibly can. But there was some data.
Do you think it's right for y'all to vote on that without the public not knowing any more than 24 hours in advance that it's going to, basically you want to raise it. You want to raise that fee. And are you going to disclose tonight the excess funds you had in 2019 and 2020 and what happened to those funds?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So what about the public knowing about this?
That's
You
what we're
think
doing
24
tonight.
hours is enough?
Well, that's to be determined by each individual person. But that's what we're here to talk about tonight.
I mean, is it even legal to put a blank page in there saying we're gonna discuss this, but we're not gonna tell you what the proposed raise is?
The legal requirement for all of our meetings is to provide an agenda. We go over and above by providing all the documentation additional with it. But the legal requirement is just the action items on an agenda. So technically, we could just do the one page, or if it ends up being 2 pages, but we go over and above that and put all the information in.
So, but it's kind of, that kind of leaves the public in the blind, and there's always some people that are watchdogs that would alert the public, but they don't have time to do that once they find out in 24 hours. I just want to submit that. And I don't think, the voters would be real happy about that if this was to be voted on tonight. I don't want to take
You
my
just ran out
time.
of time. Yeah, and we're gonna have
I'd
some
like to
discussion
encourage
about it.
my representative to vote against it until the public has a chance to discuss it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Todd.
All right, who would like to speak now? Yes, sir, come on up.
I may be coming up at the wrong time.
Please state your name, please.
Paul Page, live in Mission Glen. Commissioner Blakemore and I looked at a piece of land in my front, curbing and the percolation that's above the side of the curb. You're aware of it, that I sent you a note 4 years ago asking you to repair it. It's my understanding that he talked to the road people and they didn't want to repair it, so it's still there. And it damages a car naturally, and I don't know if the road, if you follow the regulations with the state, or if you don't have those regulations, if you're 4 inches above or 4 inches down and you've been informed of it, then you're liable for what's next. And I don't know if that's happened or not, but it's tore up a car about $800 something worth. Now, is there any way to get it repaired?
Yeah, I don't remember 4 years ago the details of that.
Well, we were sitting in my front yard
Yeah.
on the steps when you and I talked about it.
Well, our road department superintendent is here, he can we can get an address, you'd be glad to go look at it.
Well, I think he's already seen it and said he couldn't do anything about it. Am I right?
Yeah, that's the one I talked to you about, Carlin, off of, what's the name of that road?
I'm sorry.
What's the name of that road again? It's off
It's,
of Road,
Oh, I live on Rockbrook Cove.
Rockbrook Cove.
In the cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
yeah, the curb is pushed up, the road is fine, but that's where the garbage.
Well, the asphalt's pushed up under the curb too.
Okay, well, I mean, if somebody
It's-
damaged your car on that and then run over the curb, I mean, I'll go look at it Monday. What is it again,
Rockbrook Cove.
And the curb is concrete, it's about 8 inches tall, and the the asphalt is risen above it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Carlin's gonna come over Monday and take a look at that.
Well, he could have done that 2 years ago and wouldn't do it, or how long ago was it, Mr. Blakemore?
When me and you talked, that was probably 6 months ago, wasn't it?
Okay, but you talked to him and they said they couldn't do anything about it. And they still haven't done anything about it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we're gonna move forward then if no one else is coming up. And, I'm gonna read this next resolution, so bear with me, it's a little long, but Resolution R 19-22, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to authorize the Walker County Tax Commissioner to waive penalties or interest on unpaid ad valorem taxes or other costs levied against parcels of real property. Whereas there are certain cases where it is the best interest of Walker County for the Walker County Tax Commissioner to waive penalties or interest due to unpaid ad valorem taxes or other costs that have been levied against a parcel of real property. And whereas OCGA Section 48-5-242 authorizes said waiver of penalties or interest upon written approval by the governing authority of the county. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, in accordance with the provisions of OCGA Section 48-5-242, hereby authorizes the tax commissioner to waive in whole or in part the collection of any penalties or interest due on ad valorem taxes when the tax commissioner's reasonable determines that the default giving rise to the penalties or interest was due to a reasonable cause or not due to gross or unwillful neglect or disregard of the law or the regulation or instructions issued pursuant to the law. In the case of any penalties or interest arising from the failure of a taxpayer to comply with the terms, conditions, and covenants required with respect to the property receiving any type of preferential assessment, the tax commissioner shall not be authorized to waive any portion of the penalties or interest that represents a recovery by the taxing authority of the amount by which taxes were reduced as a result of granting such preferential assessment. It is further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Walker County hereby authorize the tax commissioner to waive in whole or in part the collection of any costs that have been levied against a parcel of real property, but not limited to court order cleanup cost. Notwithstanding any other provisions of this resolution, if the total dollar amount of said waiver of penalties, interest, or other costs by the tax commissioner exceeds 50% of the total dollar amount of the penalties, interest, or other costs due, then the tax commissioner must obtain pre-approval of the total amount of the waiver from the Board of Commissioners. Immediately upon approval of this resolution by the Board of Commissioners, Resolution R-010-21 is terminated and is no longer in effect. This resolution shall automatically expire on March 31st, 2024, unless the Board of Commissioners takes affirmation action prior to said date to modify, extend, or terminate resolution prior to said date, so resolved and adopted the 14th day of April 2022. So what we're trying to accomplish here, this was a request of our tax commissioner, and you're more than welcome to also speak on this if you would like, Ms. Carolyn. But many times when they have public auction sales of properties that have been on the tax rolls for a long period of time, we have some cases where some demolition cost and disposal costs that was incurred has prevented the sale of some properties that we would really like to see back on the tax roll. And so to keep the tax commissioner from coming up on every single sale, every single item, this would be entrusting the tax commissioner with approval of this board to be able to take action on those items up to 50% at the time of that public sale. So anything else you would like to add?
This is not just for anybody that's late, for sure. I want people to understand that. But we have several properties that we have tried to sell over and over again, and the fees and penalties just keep rising, and the taxes too. And one example that I just brought with me, the assessed value tax, the reasonable sale value on it is $11,138, and our tax bill that we're trying to collect is $19,000 and plus. So it's almost double the value of the property. So if we could cut these fees down into the 50% of that, we would be down within reason of the value of the property, which we hope will put this one back on the sale. And that's what all of them, that's what my aim is just get them cheap or expensive. We've got some that's worth $3,000 and we're asking $8,000 for them. So that's what I'm trying to clear up, to make it where they are paying taxes and it's not just going up, and nothing happening on them. That's my goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
Any board member have any questions of our tax commissioner on this?
Ms. Carolyn, when will the tax sale occur this year?
We have one May 3rd. That's the first Tuesday. It's in the ag building. we decided not to do it out in the street anymore. And last May, we almost got struck by lightning, I think, out there. So it's in the Ag Center at 10 a.m. in the morning, and we'd love for everybody to come.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore to approve this resolution as presented. Do we have a second on this motion?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is approved as presented. Okay, the next item that we've got is about our public safety fee, and I brought some information to share with everybody tonight, and I did put some of these blue copies on the back table. There's not enough. Come first of the week, Joe will put this out on our website as well. Our fire department, our first responders have been super busy, and our volume continues to increase. So as an example, in 2016, our fire department responded to 3,492 calls. In 2019, right before COVID, they responded to 6,091 calls. In 2020 and 2021, the volume did drop back down because there were less calls being responded to because of COVID, because some of the calls that we respond to are medical related, and so some of the medical calls, they changed in the system of what they responded to. So now that we're back post-pandemic and we're answering the same types of calls in 2022 as we did in 2019, we're projecting just what we've already seen off the first quarter of the year, that our fire department's going to respond to roughly 6,512 calls as the estimate based off first quarter numbers. And so that's approximately 125 calls per week. We have 19 fire stations, but only 7 of those have full-time staff members 24/7. So that was a change that we were able to make over the last 5 years, because previous, in 2016 and early 2017, we only had 3 full-time stations. And so it was very difficult to cover the county with only 3 full-time stations. And so we were able to redeploy some of our staff, going from 3 men per station down to 2 men per station, and deploy into 6 stations. We did that for a couple of years, and then we come back and we added the 7th station, which happens to be station number 7 in the Fairview community, because the north end of our community is the highest concentration of citizens in a demographic area, and so our call volume there was very high. Our leadership of our fire department has done that and has been very, very frugal in managing their budget each year. And so the way governmental accounting is, the fire department has their own balance sheet, their own P&L statement, so to speak. And so any money that they are able to save in their budget, it carries over into their fund balance. So when Chief Hodge came in 2017, when I hired him on January 1st, 2017, he started out with a 0 fund balance from the previous administration. There was no fund balance. And so over a period of 4 years, through September of 2020, that leadership team was able to establish a fund balance of $641,481. So they've been operating very efficiently. They're not blowing and wasting money or thinking they've got to have the latest shiny thing. They are managing those tax dollars very wisely. But we've had a problem for quite some time where we are having a high degree of turnover of staff members due to not being competitive with other neighboring communities for firefighters. And so over the last 5 years, we have been chipping away at that big iceberg of a problem, and we've been able to do some things by getting our spouses back on the insurance. That was one thing that was a big concern and problem. We were losing a lot of our younger firefighters because they needed spouse insurance coverage. And so we were not competitive there because we went for a couple of years, we didn't have any spouse insurance for medical at all. Also, our retirement program, we were not competitive with other communities, other local governments with our retirement program. So in October of 2019, we revamped and made our retirement program more competitive against other local governments for all of our county employees that are on the 401A program. And also what we did earlier on the medical was for all of our county employees to have that option. And so we made those enhancements without raising the fire fee. The last time the fire fee was modified was in 2017. So we've gone for 5 years without modifying the fire fee. But what we did in 2017, the fire fee before, a lot of people complained that it wasn't equitable because regardless of what size home you had, all homeowners paid $130. So if you had a 1,000 square foot home, or if you had a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot home, everybody paid $130 flat fee. And I think that was enacted probably in about 2015. So in the fire services, if you have a home that is 1,000 square feet, the amount of equipment, needed fire flow, water, equipment, everything that goes into that personnel is a lot different look than a 2 or 3 story home. And so to make it more equitable, we went to a square footage change. So currently, 41.49% of our homeowners pay still today $130 fire fee or less, which again, that has been that number since I think around 2015. One thing that we did in that, there are 1,482 homeowners that pay the minimum, which is $90. There's 10,030 homeowners that are 58.5% that pay between $131 and $400. And at those rate levels and those structures, we've been able to maintain an equitable balanced budget and have fund balances left over. This board made a very bold and proactive move back, I guess it was April, didn't it go into effect April last year, to try to be more competitive with our firefighters and to take care of our firefighters for what they do for us. We implemented a $4,500 pay increase for our firefighters. So that got our starting firefighters up to $13.81 per hour. When I came in office in 2017, it was $9.81 for a starting firefighter. So even at the $13.81 for a starting firefighter that's gone through his training, got his first level certification, we're at $13.81. And so that's what's driving this. And so what we did, we knew when we made those raises, we had some fund balance to work with to make up that increase in wages. So in 2021, we had utilized $420,000 of that fund balance that we had $641,000. So that got us down to $220,000 round numbers. Our 2022 projection, we're going to blow through that fund balance and we're going to end up with a negative fund balance. And so that's why this proposal was brought forward, because in order to make any modifications to the tax bill, we have to do it early on so it can get into the system. And so that's why this proposal is put on the table here today. There was some information that we were waiting on that we received on Monday, and that's why this additional public safety fee was not added until just this week, and we didn't have it last Thursday, as I didn't have all the information to know what to propose to the board. So just wanted y'all to understand that what's driving this is our wages. We're losing, I think, around 12 to 15 firefighters every single year. We're having to do a recruit class every single year. we're having extra overtime because we have open shifts and guys are having to work extra overtime to fill those shifts to provide that public safety. So inflation we're facing as well, and the wages, we're still not competitive. We're still having firefighters leave. And so, again, that's what's driving this. And so I'll open the floor up to any board member that would like to add anything additional at this time.
Well, I think as the Colonel pointed out, it's important that people see this, it's important to understand it. But to put it in perspective, sir, it's a penny per square foot. So for a 2,000 square foot home, it's $20 a year. So that's a $20 increase over 5 years from 2017 when the 10 cents applied. So if you look at the fee schedule, I don't know if you have it, sir, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's not. I mean, yes, it's a hit on the homeowner. It's a hit. It is. It's $20 a year if you got a 2,000 square foot house. But the average homeowner in 2017 is probably making $20 more than they are now 5 years ago. So it's not. It's hard to increase taxes. I know it's hard out there right now, but at the same time, we're asking people to go out there and jump into burning houses for $13 an hour. So, we're trying to give you, the Walker County citizen, the best protection that we can, and that's why this is proposed.
One of the other things that's very important for everybody to know, over many years, this county has worked very hard in fire services to get it where we had an ISO rating 3. So for a rural county, that's very, very unique. There's not many of those in the country that are rural counties that has an ISO level 3. The last audit we had by the institute that monitors and comes and grades that, we were 70.22. So basically, we were 22 basis points of being a 4. And so if we have another audit coming up within less than 2 years, and so when they come back and re-audit our fire services, if we slip to a 4, every homeowner, every business is going to most likely see an increase in your homeowner's insurance, because your insurance companies are all going to be notified that we went from a 3 to a 4, and you're going to pay a higher insurance cost. And so 2 of the things that really drive the ISO rating is water and response time, which is driven by personnel and number of personnel. So that's why we have tried to expand the number of stations we have so we get a faster response time, because they come in and they look for those response times and they audit that. They also look at water supply, water storage, fire hydrants, fire flow, and training hours. So there's other things that make up into that, but a lot of it is driven by response time. So at some point in time, if we don't keep up with where we need to be financially, and we have to reduce staff, then we're going to have a slower response time, because we may not always have a station fully staffed during a shift. And if we get to that point, it's going to affect us on our response times, which in turn is going to have more of a domino effect on everyone's homeowner insurance. And so we want to try to protect this ISO 3 level. And our command staff and our fire team does a great job working on that, because the training and everything that they do document-wise all through the cycle has a big impact on that. But if we let that slip over, the average homeowner in Walker County is a 1,500 square foot home, we're told. So that's a $15 per year increase, and the first increase we've had in 5 years, and the average homeowner on a 1,500 square foot would see $15 increase. So this board at some point's got to make that decision, but we've got to be able to have the funding to pay the staff, to have the team to respond.
A point that was made earlier in the conversation, and I just run some numbers basically based on a 2,000 square foot house, and like I said, when you break it down to $15, and then you break it back down to a monthly deal, and it's $1.50, $1.69 on a 20 on if you had a 2,000 square foot house. But my point that I picked up is, and it's not a guess, it's a fact. If our ISO rating does go back up, our insurance premiums will be affected. That's not a speculation, that's fact. And this, to look at what we're kind of looking at on this proposal, this is putting our taxpayer dollars, ours too, that we pay taxes just like everybody out here. It's putting it back into our county, into our people, into our resources, where if we decide if we're not able to keep our resources up and we let ourselves slip, then you're going to be paying it to the big companies that aren't in Walker County, Georgia. They're in the big major cities and everywhere. You're paying it to your insurance company, the big guy. So there's a lot of things for us to look at, and we're trying to look at it, and we're trying to look at it from every angle and trying to do what's best for everybody in Walker County. That's all I've got to say about it.
I see both sides of it, but I see what we're really hurting is our commercial and our elderly folks that are living on $700 a month. That's where we're really hitting people. And $15 to an elderly person getting $700 a month is a lot of money.
I see. I mean, I don't dispute that at all on a yearly basis. But like you said, and just breaking them down, it's $1 and something a month. It'd be $15 on the year, and it still is a lot of money.
In our senior population is very, very important to us, and the life expectancy of all of our citizens is getting greater. Unfortunately, as we all get older, our seniors are more dependent on these services that we're talking about, because a lot of these responses that they're doing is not fire related, but we're sending trained EMTs and paramedics for those heart attacks, those strokes, those medical, those life-saving events. And, they say every minute during a stroke that you can get someone medical attention, a lot of times those strokes can be reversed. And so it is affecting anyone that pays more than the minimum now, but also keep in mind that the population that we're speaking of there is the ones that are high utilizations of the services as well.
I think some good points have been brought out by everyone. I think we have been presented with a lot of information, a lot of fresh information that none of us have really had time to study, had time to go over thoroughly. Citizens have not had a chance to look at these numbers, until right now. Personally, I would like some more time to review these. I think I've heard some good comments here. Commissioner Blakemore, I'm sensitive and concerned about our elderly population, our commercial business owners, this affecting their bottom line. And so I would like some more time to review these numbers. I would like some more time for citizens to review this. So I would like to make a motion at this point in time to table this agenda matter until further research and study can be done by the board as well as our citizens, and then take this topic back up the next meeting.
Okay. All right, so we do have a motion by Commissioner Stoltz to table this action item until we all have more time to review the information. So do we have a second?
I'll second that. I think that's the proper thing to do till we can review it and give everybody a chance to look at it a bit better.
Okay.
I second that motion.
But just a question, which meeting will we bring it back up at? We're not meeting the 28th, are we?
That is correct.
Table until we put it back on the agenda.
Right.
12th. That'll be, the next meeting would be the second Thursday in May.
The 12th. Okay.
So about a month. Maybe a couple days.
Okay, so that's your motion to
Yes, sir.
table it until the first meeting in May?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that
I'll
your
second, I'll second
Okay.
that motion.
All right, so we got a motion and a second to table this action item into the first meeting in May. At that time, it would be placed back on the agenda for the board's consideration. Any further discussion of the board on that motion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of the board say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, there's unanimous vote, so we will table this until the first meeting in May. Okay. Okay, the next item that we have for consideration is a proposal from Rustin Auditing, or CPA firm out of Gainesville, Georgia. Our enabling act that we operate under now as a Board of Commissioners calls for the board, after 4 years with one auditing firm, that you've got to change to a different auditing firm. And so our past auditing firm's done a good job for us, but we have now been with them for 4 consecutive years. And so we are required then to change. This is a company that is based out of Gainesville, Georgia, but they do a lot of governmental work. They have very high reviews, and just as an example of some of their auditing experiences, Bartow County, Carroll County, Franklin County, Habersham County, Murray, Oconee, Peach, Rabun, Union, White, City of Blairsville, City of Canton, City of Cummins, Dahlonega, Gainesville, City of Jasper, City of Norcross, Tallapoosa, Washington, and Wilkesville are just some of the ones they've done just in the last 3 years. Their fee structure is very competitive to what we're paying now, which is on page 23. It says total all-inclusive max price of the auditing and financial statements for the fiscal year ending September 30th would be $67,950. There is an exception. This is the above all-inclusive audit fee includes the preparation of the annual physical report. The above all-inclusive audit fee does not include fees performing on a single audit. If a single audit is required, the fee for those services would be for $5,000 for a major program and $3,000 for each additional major program. And what triggers a single audit is if you have received in $750,000 or more of grant funds from the federal government, which we have done so. So that would also trigger what is referred to as a single audit, and that we've been in that situation, I think, a couple of years. So that's a good place to be, that you've received $750,000 worth of grant funds to require that additional audit. So I have had our in-house CPA review this, and he feels very comfortable with them. Also, their peer review is part of this. They have had a recent peer review, so everything seems to be in good order.
Mr. Chairman, do we have any information from any other auditing or accounting firms, or is this the only one that we've looked at and considered?
This is the only one that I have engaged with. They come highly recommended. I have personally talked to Bartow County, Murray County, and Union County, and they give them high reviews. They do have a lot of customers here in North Georgia, and they have a great track record of providing services to government entities of our size. And so this is a company that I feel like would give us the best results.
Is there a time frame that you can make this decision? Is there anything pushing to make that transition from the old accounting firm to the new one? What's our deadline? What's our date?
We actually, since the last meeting, they presented the 2020 audit, so we are actually had to file an extension on our 21 audit. And so we are actually running behind schedule of where we need to be. This is just a 1-year commitment. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Sorry.
I did have a chance to speak with our CPA, and he was most impressed with their credentials. He felt like well-trained, very knowledgeable, and he was very impressed with the firm overall, which I thought was a good recommendation.
And he was an auditor back in his younger days as well. So he definitely has the experience as well. Any other questions? All right. Do we have a motion to approve this presentation of accepting Rushton's as our auditing firm for our 2021 audit?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hart. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries to approve for the auditing firm. Okay, we do have a request of a right-of-way easement down and around our landfill. And Payne, would you like to come up and just briefly speak to this? I know you've been directly involved in this, and we wanted to make sure this didn't affect any of our future proposed expansions. So could you just give us a brief overview on this?
Yeah, this particular utility pole is located in what we call the southern pasture. It's a section of land. It's the first section of land directly south of the animal shelter. It's currently being unused, and the pole is about 75 feet off of North Marbletop, and that puts it within our 200-foot buffer, and right at the edge of the 500-foot buffer for the residential property that's I guess due south of that pole. So really, that's outside of the footprint of the proposed landfill cell, and there shouldn't be any reason to move that. We've David Dalib and I have discussed this a lot, and I met one of North Georgia Electric's representatives at the site. He looked at it, and the pole is kind of leaning towards North Marbletop, so they're going to replace it, put a new guide wire up. That shouldn't interfere with anything, and actually it'll stay within the current right-of-way that it's in. And those poles kind of go from the south pasture to the animal shelter. There's a pole in the animal shelter about 75 feet or so off of Marbletop onto the existing landfill property near the scale house. So that right-of-way extends through there in sort of a northeast-southwest trend.
This easement is actually for a customer, for someone to.
Yes.
It's to get off of our property or go across the street to service, or is it across the street, or is it?
It's across the street.
That's what I was thinking, to service a property that needs electricity, so yeah.
Yes.
Residential property.
It's a residential, yeah.
Yeah, well, I believe that she's currently using it as agriculture as well. She grows, she's a horticulturist. She grows shrubs and flowers and things like that, so this will assist her with that.
There's no conflicts at all with any of our operations.
No. And I also checked with our engineering company, and they confirmed what Dave and I were able to come up with.
Okay, very good. Any other questions for Mr. Gilly?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Askew to approve this easement. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Blakemore. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll sign this agreement. Okay, the next we have purchase order 2022-1135 to Prater Ford in the amount of $206,960 for 6 vehicles for the Walker County Sheriff's Office. Funding source being the 2020 SPLOST. And so, is there anyone here to speak of this from the the Police Sheriff's Department? Okay. I'll just read here briefly. There's 2 Ford Explorers in the amount of $30,757.40. There are 2 Ford Interceptor V6s in the amount of $34,482.80. There are 2 Ford Interceptor V6s with the EcoBoost for $38,239.80 each. So the grand total of this purchase order is for $206,960 to be paid out of the 2020 splost account. Those funds are earmarked and allocated for the sheriff's office for this purpose. Any question or discussion of the board? All right, do we have a motion to approve this purchase order for the sheriff's office?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the purchase order is approved. And, we do have the funds available, so check will be wrote on delivery. Okay, the next item that we have is for purchase order 2022-1136 to Fryer Construction for the amount of $61,089.37 for the reconstruction of the courthouse Annex II wall. This will be coming from our funding source of our 2022 general fund budget. We are working very hard to get our Annex II building back in operation. It was damaged a few years ago when the building on the corner fell and did some damage to our building, so we've not been able to utilize the building. So we are replacing, as part of the renovation, the west wall that is unsafe. And so Fryer Construction's based here in Lafayette. They have been absolutely phenomenal to work with and come very highly recommended. And they gave us a quote here, everything included that we needed to remove and replace that wall. So is there any question of the board?
Commissioner Askew, you looked at this and.
Yeah, I myself and Commissioner Hart both, I looked at the drawing and the scope of the work and all, and I feel like it's very much in line with what we need to do. And I think that Fryer Construction is probably doing us a pretty good favor on that. It's a pretty good project.
I think so.
Wouldn't you agree, Commissioner Hart, on what we?
Yep.
Yeah, we did have our engineering firm do an engineer drawing on this, and we did get our proper permitting from the city. And so the city has reviewed the information, the drawings, issued the permit, and everything's in good order. All right.
Chair, do we have an estimated time on basically when this project will be completed?
We are hoping about the 7th of May. They're wanting to get in there and start utilizing the actual courtroom space. So once we get the courtroom space, jury room, and all that operational, then we plan to move over into the east wing and do some upgrades to those offices so we can move our juvenile court staff members and offices in there to give them some much needed space for our juvenile courts. That'd be kind of phase 2, but that all appears to be just internal facelift type work.
I think it's great we're using Fryer, that their work is impeccable. Great guys and local folks, and they will do a great job.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the purchase order in the amount of $61,089.37 to Fryer's Construction?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hart. Have a second.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the purchase order is approved. Okay, we do have our spreadsheet that we put out each month on our statistics from some of our departments. Animal shelter saw 98 dogs brought in and 56 cats. We had a very good month for adoption, so if anybody out there is interested in adoption of a dog or a cat, all of our adoptable animals are on our website that you can view. So there was 15 dogs and 15 cats each adopted out for the month. Code enforcement did 414 property inspections. There was 26 citations written. They were able to close out 4 cases. Roadside litter, they picked up 11,000 pounds even for the month. We don't have a registered voter number. There was some software upgrades at the Secretary of State's office, so they haven't been able to provide us that data yet. Again, our fire department, very, very active. As y'all know, we had a lot going on in March when it comes to fire services, a lot of actual fires. 541 or calls responded to, not necessarily fires, but 541 total calls responded to, handled by 973 responding units. And they had a good month on smoke alarms, 18 new smoke alarms installed. Mountain Cove Farms is kicking up, 49 nights stayed at Mountain Cove Farms. New home construction was strong in March for 20 new single-family home permits pulled in the unincorporated area. I know there's quite a bit of construction going on in some of our cities as well, but that's just in the unincorporated area. We had 26 new subscribers to our e-newsletter, still patching potholes as we continue paving, so 640 potholes patched. Transit super busy, and I'm sure that gas prices are affecting that. More people are turning to the transit service as a way to save money. So in March, there was 2,438 transit rides. And there's some other items there that you can see, but that's kind of the highlights of that report. All right, that takes care of that. We've done our public comments. At this time, we have time for our commissioners that would like to add any additional comments to the meeting. So we'll start with Commissioner Blakemore.
Just appreciate everybody coming out, getting involved. If I can help you, call, text, or email. Thank you to all our county workers for all y'all do. And Shannon, once they speak, would you give us a time frame on Daughtery Gap for the public?
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for your participation. I did want to mention just a couple of quick things. Governor Kemp today signed three farm bills, three different bills for us, and I don't know if you're aware, but Brian, did you see? I don't know if you'd seen those. But
Yeah, it was the old right to farm bill. It's 1150. What is it? 1152, I think. It was the one that didn't get through last year. Yeah.
1150. The
Okay,
Freedom
yeah,
Farm Act,
that's right.
but the one that's exciting is the 1303, where they're actually going to start getting agricultural education into our elementary school level, started in elementary versus, and finally the third that's really exciting too is that it's enabling the food bank to help our food banks. They're going to restructure the code to where that it's more easier for the farmers to help the food banks and stuff like that. So it's an exciting time. Saturday is our farmers market opening, and it's a 9 to 1. I did want to mention that they're going to have music, food, all that thing, plant sale and everything, and they do double the amount of SNAP or EBT cards. So that helps a lot of folks as well. Put a little more groceries into their refrigerators. So. And other than that, you know, you got your plant sales all over, so get out and support. Ridgelands is Friday, Chattanooga Valley's, I think Rossville Middle, Gordon Lee's is 16th, so Lafayette's is the 15th, and then our Ag Center's on the 16th. So I just encourage everybody to please continue to help supporting our local agriculture, and especially the times that we're in and that we're going to be seeing in the future. So that's all I got on that.
Very good.
Good point. I would like to give a shout out to somebody in the county who works at the 911 center. Holly Weber was awarded the Teresa Parker Dispatcher of the Year. So that's one of those people that we're talking about firemen tonight and the things that they do. That's somebody that if you saw her on the street, you'd never know who she was, but she probably saved somebody's life today. So those people are important in our community, and that's what we're trying to do is just make sure that we take care of them and keep them working for us. Not only for you all, but for us also. Like Mark said, we are taxpayers too. While Mark's on agriculture, Walker County Ag Day is I didn't write it down, Mark. Is Friday the 6th, right, Karen? Karen probably tracking that. Walker County Ag Day, Friday,
That's right.
May the 6th from 8 to 2, so keep an eye out for that. Robert?
All right. So I want to thank everyone for coming. Appreciate what our county employees do. Appreciate the hard work. Want to mention that there will be a rabies vaccination clinic on Saturday, April the 23rd. The times and locations are listed on the county website. I went to Naomi last year. It was quick, efficient, very cost effective. They did a great job. So go get your dogs vaccinated. Also want to mention that there will be a sunrise service Easter Sunday at the Cedar Grove Community Center, 7 a.m. Very nice service. Breakfast will be provided after that, and so I want to wish everyone a very happy Easter. Also want to mention that there will be a fly-in. John Morehouse has mentioned at the Lafayette Airport Saturday, John, weather permitting. Is that correct? About what time?
Well, it's a burgers and brats dinner, if you will, but it starts at 10 o'clock and goes to 1. And so if you want to be around, the Young Eagles will be flying. Young Eagles from this time the Chattanooga Valley Middle School. There's 10 students that, were given tickets, or if you will, they had to do things in order to get these tickets. There'll be some fly-ins for the Lafayette and other schools, high schools, and that later on. But the thing is to get young people excited about aviation, either as pilots or mechanics or, things like that. So it'll be here at the Lafayette Airport this Saturday, and if you want to just come around and look at planes, get in one, talk to pilots, talk to instructors, take a flight, that could be, anyway, thank you for
That'll be a fun day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And eat some really good bratwurst.
There you go.
That's what I'm coming for. Good.
Yes, sir, I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just wanted to also tomorrow being Good Friday, all of our county offices will be closed, but keep in mind in your prayers all of our first responders that will be working. So all of our Sheriff's Department and Fire and 911, all of those folks that will be working on Good Friday. So we appreciate them for the sacrifice that they make to continue to work on those holidays and take another day off at another time. So at this time, we will need to, I need to make a motion that we do go into executive session. We do have some personnel items to review and also some real estate items to review. And so I make a motion that we go into executive session with our legal counsel to review those items. So do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. It's 8:13, and we will return after our executive session.
Hi, I'm Joe Legee, Public Relations Director for Walker County Government. The board has just entered executive session. This is a process that allows elected officials to discuss a specific, sensitive topic behind closed doors. These are topics that are exempt from the Georgia Open Meetings Act. Executive session topics must fall into one of three categories: litigation, real estate, or personnel matters. In terms of litigation, the need may arise for the board to consult with a county attorney on pending or potential lawsuits, settlements, claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions brought by or against Walker County government, its officers, or employees. Real estate covers discussions regarding the future purchase or acquisition, disposal, or lease of property. Personnel matters would cover the discussion or deliberation on the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal of a Walker County government officer or employee. Now, if a vote is needed pertaining to an issue discussed in the executive session, it must be taken in an open meeting. Otherwise, it is not binding. We'll return if there is action to take after the executive session.